Welcome back everyone to Splash Peak, our indoor aquatic dome in which we're doing a bit of a Timber Mountain inspired build. We've built already a river rapids, we've built a very custom flume, and now we are building a log flume that goes through a darkride section. And in the last two episodes we've built the main mountain that features as the main kind of weenie, and we built the indoor section, as you can see a couple of teasers here. Today we're going to fix the station, which is going to be very exciting. And before we do that, as always, a little note from the sponsor of the channel, Instant Gaming. You know, you can get game keys or in-game currency or even gift cards for a great value. They always have very nice deals, and you can also find a customer support 24/7. And what's also pretty cool is when you do clicky the link in the description and buy via Instant Gaming via my link, you do support me directly without paying more. This is kind of cool. I get a tiny fee of that, and so, well, yeah, just check it out in the description down below. It's a good service. Many people are happy, so, well, we are too, I guess. Now, let's move back into the episode, because as promised, today is going to be special. We are building a station, and oh boy, is that turning out well. And the main reason for that is, well, actually, two things that weren't possible in Planet Coaster 1, and I'm very, very happy that we have finally a use case for these two major changes. The first major change is the very recently added ability to build very much lower above buildings and rides and stuff like that with your pathway, and just in general the improved pathing options with no curbs and so on. You can tell this is gonna look so much better and so much more natural. But the other thing is, and that is also equally important, we have a separate load and unload station, which allows us for some more interesting station, like overall station variants, layouts, I should say, that still feel like one coherent station. And you will see I'm doing a little trick over here to make sure that this feels like one big station. Yes, we can argue the size of it is still relatively insane, but just in general, the fact that you can do it is just so freaking incrazible. That's a new word, isn't it? Incrazible. Yeah, well, that is that. Now you can tell I'm going for a very classy kind of style with the like Timber Mountain style is just kind of inviting us already to utilize that style. I'm mixing a lot of wooden things, I'm mixing some Western style in, I'm mixing a lot of styles in. I talked about that in the last episode already, that I'm not struggling, but since we have so little distinct pieces for what I had in mind for like a very interesting, almost like Splash Mountain kind of story, I didn't want to go full Western. I could have imagined going for a bit more of a gold digger kind of vibe, but like I didn't really find anything. So at the end of the day, I just went fully freestyle. So fully freestyle is also how I approach these wonderful kind of staircases over here and the little bridge. I wanted to have it all look a bit more organic, not too straight, not too clean. I wanted to have it a bit more wonky and just feel like as if this is meant to be a little bit of a special kind of, you know, Timber Mountain thing where not everything is perfectly accurate. It was so much fun to build. This is one of the builds where I set myself to have an hour for building time, and we end up having almost 3 hours of building time because it was just so much fun. While I did actually find a couple of things I would have improved normally. These things will be improved later on. I do have these ideas in mind. They are very obvious to me, but I needed to just have the time to kind of, first of all, find the right kind of more or less the basic layout. I think this is what really stand out to me, that I needed to do that first, to fix it first, and then later on we can make this whole area coherent, because next to it is going to be the River Rapids station, which is potentially what we are going to do next episode, or we are going to do a couple of pools. I don't know, because I don't know when I'm able to record the next episode. That is actually the truth. So yeah, it is what it is. I really feel super happy for this build, for this project, and just in general, it is so freaking satisfying to build all of this. And above it all, I think the idea to go for the Splash Peak Mountain Dome over here has set me free to enjoy a bit of a different theme right now. Even though I must admit the sci-fi theme in the Antarctic Dreamland is really kicking in for me too. I enjoy that to the max. It really is a lot of fun. I didn't actually know it was that much fun until we built. Like, remember when we talked about what themes we wanted to have, sci-fi was potentially for me personally the least interesting one, and it turns out to be so fun and so cool. I am very much enjoying that one. But nevertheless, we are in peak Splash Peak over here, and I also enjoy that one. I do know why Mr. Aston Wolf is so much into his Wilderness Springs, because certainly that is a pretty similar style, kind of pretty similar vibe going on, which I do like a lot. And maybe it was a bit of touring his wonderful park as well, and then having the feeling like, yeah, I think I want to do this too. I think I want to do this as well. Now, when it comes to this ride, I also wanted to give the whole ride, obviously, a bit of a nice theming. And I wanted to give it a full theming this time around. And we do have a couple of corners where it's not fully finished, but I think the ride is about 90% immersive, meaning 90% of it is fully themed and fully kind of fixed in every corner, every bit that you can see, which I think is very, very cool. I found another very cool wooden piece over here, the Resort Sign Panel 1, which if you turn that around and don't use it as a sign, it makes for a very cool kind of terrace underlying under material, I don't know, foundation. I have no idea what to call that, to be honest. It's a very good wooden material, okay? That's what it is. Now, you can see I'm also utilizing that here for the staircase because it does have a bit of a wider bump to it, so like it's a bit wider and you can utilize that, but I still put some of these big old logs next to it just to make it all feel a bit more steady. And the cool bit of this theming, and also kind of fun, by the way, that I'm now we don't have the curbs, and I'm still kind of using it as if we had the curbs over there. But you know, I think it's just because of these wonderful logs that I'm doing that. It's still much easier to build, much more nicer because of the cleaning, like the clearance area, not cleaning, the clearance area below where the coaster goes by or the ride goes by. Most likely we could do this with most of the rides in the past anyways, but like because we could turn off the collision in the menu, but I'm kind of sure that it didn't work over stations and it didn't work over rides like that, and most certainly not over pools, so I'm very happy that it works right now. And so it also looks super realistic once this is built. I'm very, very pleased with the outcome of this entire thing. It looks very, very cool, it looks very realistic, and the whole station, you'll see that in the real-time part, gives this really great feeling of being one big thing rather than two separate station elements. It looks like a proper good old theme park station, and I'm so happy about this because, you know, that was always the struggle in Planet Coaster 1 to try and do this, and also at the beginning of Planet Coaster 2 it was equally the same struggle because we had the same issues, having only one station for in and out, and you know, this one over here enables us to make a lot more bigger stations. There will be tricks to make them appear smaller, but I'm still hoping that Frontier is giving us an option to utilize smaller stations in the future anyways, because the platforms themselves are rather big, so it would be kind of nice if at least from the other side we could get rid of it, like the platform that is on the opposite side, even though you don't use it with an exit or so. That is rather important. I'm also kind of pleased with how I solved this over here with the staff exit. It's kind of embedded into the exit pathway without appearing that it is a separate station. So we do have two entrances for the staff, and that is kind of actually one entrance and one exit for the guests. The only little eyesore I still have are these gates. Like the actual gate pieces, at least let me color them, but oh boy, they are so ugly. And I'm not sure, like, you don't really have them. You could build, like in real life, you could build some rides nowadays have like some security gates or so, but like you don't have these typical kind of entrance pieces in a way. I know why they're doing this, but I would love to have just the same that they did with the good old entrances at the beginning of the queue. Just get rid of it, I guess, you know. So we can make our own entrances, make it feel more realistic, and just enter the station where it is necessary to enter. Like, there is no real reason other than that people are waiting over there, but like technically if this thing would be invisible, the people would still wait there, wouldn't they? Like, from a technical standpoint, it doesn't really matter, does it? So yeah, whatever. That's just like a little thought I had recently, because the station overall looks so cool, and then these things are just like the only little thing that stands out to break the immersion of a very, very realistic, cool station. Naja, well, that's no, that was a German word in here. How that slip in? Anyways, naja, it's kind of a whatever in German. So if you wanna be cool with German, you can say naja, which is almost like, well, whatever. So yeah, we are building the station, and as we are already indoors with the whole dome, I didn't need to bother building too much as a roof, but I figured a little bit of a kind of canopy over here, or like not canopy, but that is almost like a pergola. It just kind of gives the whole thing a bit more structure and a bit more feeling as if this is a real station, and also a bit of shade in the sun. I mean, this, you know, we do have, despite the fact we do have the dome, there still will be the sun. You can see also here I utilized some of these kind of barrels to at least hide this a little way. Yeah, again, I would love to see this differently, but it is what it is. We have to deal with it. Putting a couple of planters in here for some nice little plants. The European ash tree is definitely becoming my favorite tree in the game. It's design-wise and color-wise the best tree, and I would love Frontier to adjust all the other trees to the level of quality of that one. But just like that was my 2 cents to that one. You can see I'm building the entrance area over here that just didn't want to do what I know exactly why it's happening. You know, I watched all Taggers videos, but I was too lazy to fix it over there. I could have just used the roundy stamp, but it didn't fit fully in there, so here's what that is. Yeah, I also needed to then enable quickly the railing again, because I needed to understand where to put the fences, and this is becoming one of my favorite things to do now. Having the option to get completely rid of the railing and the curb enables us to build such a way more natural looking station and queue areas without the need of fiddling around with the actual stuff, you know. That is definitely the most, I don't know, easy and bestest fixes that the update of the pathing brought to the game. I mean, look at what I'm doing. I'm just like plopping these things in so that they're really somehow around the actual path. It doesn't even need to be fully, because you don't see the edges anyways. You can go absolutely crazy. It's gonna look a bit odd if there's a bit more room at certain areas, you know, because people will stick to the pathways. You can still go in and drag them out if you want to make them room for more, but they most likely don't stand there like you would in a real life park. And potentially that is something I would envision as an upgrade for a potential Planet Coaster 3 in the far future. I think the dynamics in a queue, in a real life queue, people, you know, sitting down at some areas, leaning on the railing and just, you know, talking to each other, that is something I would love to see in a game like that, to bring even more realism in. Right now you have them queuing in a nice way, how they go through there, but they're like just standing behind each other, which kind of is understandable, but again, like the dynamics of a real queue is really, really cool, and I would love to see that in here. Maybe they can even fix that in here and add some new animations or so to it. That would be lovely. I mean, there is no need for like a huge overhaul of the game in order to add that. It's just like a couple new animations of people or behaviors inside of a queue. I'm saying just, I know it's kind of a big word, but therefore, you obviously also, as we are able to turn off the railing, where would they then do this kind of behavior of leaning towards railing? Or maybe it's just kind of triggered when you don't have the railing activated, they can't, so you need to figure out where you put your areas. But well, who am I to say? That's just a little idea I have. So that is most likely it for the station in general. Now it's all about cleaning the rest and making sure that it all feels coherent, like one build. And putting in some stones, putting in some other plants, and it's starting to look really nice. I also wanted to block most of the views, so it's still very immersive for the people in the log flume, and coming around here out of the stone area into the station back in to make it all feel so much more nice and alive. And yeah, as you can see, I'm also putting a couple of props down here. We can mix and match very nicely some props, and now getting the pirate pack soon will enable us to do even more with this, so it's gonna be very cool. And the pirate pack itself is giving us so many more options for theming. Then I also figured, like, I want to have some ground underneath here, like kind of the cutoff area with the pathway is a bit of odd. I wanted to just have some proper ground. I did this and then just aligned the colors as much as I could. Really happy with how that turned out. Give a couple of steady pillars here to make the whole thing feel a bit more supported. And not with the in-game supports, but actually using actual supports, and then using some of the, well, lower foundation pieces to make these supports appear a bit more realistic. I feel like this is some kind of nice stuff. And then I figured at some point we need to kind of give this whole area a bit more structure where people could go and not, and you know, otherwise they would be roaming around anywhere here. We don't want them to go close to the station. Put a couple of other things in here from from the menu? Well, really just scattering around a couple of pieces, ropes and so on to make it not as repetitive. Put a couple of these cable holder thingies over here, cable support things, and just making sure that we have something. I also double checked my blueprints. Then I figured I forgot to make my drinking fountain as a blueprint, which I did in the Hansic Dreamland, and I'm so happy about this, but I forgot to put it in. Yes, some technical outlets here, electrical outlets, just making sure a bit of realism is added here and there. And then we are almost done with the station. As I said, I'm so proud of it. It looks fantastic. It is feeling fantastic. I am more than excited to keep on building in this project simply because it looks so good. And I would love to upload the entire Splash Peak mountain, but it's not gonna work. As a blueprint, never ever, but also as a park, it will not be available, I guess, for consoles. I'm very sorry to, but I'm just like very much obsessed with abusing pieces. So that's my problem, okay? It's kind of a disease, and I always fall for it. And there's no way around. There's no pill for it or anything. You can't heal me from that. There's no medicine. Well, medicine would be to give me lesser options, but don't do that, okay? So this is really, I mean, even now, as we do know, Jurassic World Evolution 3 is announced and brings some very, very well-known stuff in that we all know from our beloved Planet games. It is absolutely another target of mine to go crazy with the pieces. I can't wait to see what is possible with this game as well. We are going to very soon hopefully have a look at that as well, and let's see what that brings. But like already the summary of what we've seen is so good, and I'm really excited to see what else is coming. And yeah, just as a little note, if you haven't seen that one, I highly recommend check out these videos, because it is surprising what is in there. It's very surprising, so make sure to watch them. As I said, it's very surprising and very cool indeed. But speaking of cool, let's get a splash and go inside of the dome and have a look how this all looks in game and find out if you like it or how much I like it. So let's move over. Welcome to the real-time part in the final episode of our log flume build, and here you can see this station in action, and doesn't that look absolutely fantastic? I am beyond excited about how this turned out. Like everything about this, the queue, the whole area here. If you can hold on, what the heck is going on here? There you go. If you see, this is where the exit goes. There's the boat coming around, and now people will be exiting on this side, and then they are within the station. It's so cool. They're like going out here, but they still have to cross the entire station. I personally think this is so freaking cool. Like everything in here feels to have a reason and feels to be in place exactly where it needs to be. There's the queue, there is this whole thing. I also put the bridge in now. That's something I did off screen, where the coaster goes by and now everyone can leave the pools accurately. I wasn't able to fix that over here, by the way, but hey, that's how it is. I also made sure that we just have an entrance to the slides over here to make it not as ugly. And the same goes for over here. There is already our exit way for the staff. So that is what we have. And yeah, I think it's looking freaking fantastic. Also, when the boats come around here, around the corner, there you go. They come out of the prison area. And if you just have that, this is that. I think, what we do, we're just going to hop on one of the boats real quick. I'm not going to do a full tour. I may upload this separately, but let's quickly hop on some of the boats and just skip through. So that should help. So this one is going out. So let's go into another one. This one is coming into the station. I'm sitting relatively deep in that one. Can I have interest, wing, front, bummer, forward? That's good. That's good. This gives us a better view. So here we are going back into the station. This is the one coming up here. You can have a bit of the look. There you go. And then inside, this is where we've been. This one goes through the prisons. And then that one is just leaving the station. Yeah, it all looks very neat, doesn't it? It all looks very cool. Let's have a look where the other one is. Ah, that's just on the turntable and goes into the print. This camera is just horrific, because it is just kind of fixed to what it is doing. Not really my favorite so far, but yeah, there's the guest facing. Not sure if that camera does better. There you can see it. Now the guests are rotated. Yay. Woo! And then, oops. Where do we go? Where do we go? It's all confusing because all sides look the same. And now we go out of this one. Yeah, that is cool. That is so cool. Then we plop over. There was like a little prison. So let's see if we can catch someone who's just before the big fall. Nope, you're not. You're coming around here too. Ah, you are about to go down. There we have you. There we have you. Look at that. Now we are splashing down. Woohoo! And 2 people sliding next to us. Yay! That was so cool. Up it goes into that little archway of stones. And then we go underneath that bridge and towards the station. That's so cool because you have the feeling, okay, I'm now gonna make my way back to the station, but then you have that little bit of extra excitement in there too, which is exactly what I wanted to do. And now it all works so well together. Whoops, where am I? There you go. This is so much what I wanted to do. This was what I was envisioning. Look at the whole area. Look at, it's actually kind of compact considering what type of ride we are working with. And also, as I said, the station may be amongst my best stations I've ever done, simply because of how intricate it works, and so how little space we utilize in comparison to the big platforms to make that whole station work like a coherent station, if you know what I mean. It's kind of hard to describe, but I feel like it looks really cool. I think it works pretty well. I think it does sell the idea exactly. Also, that little entrance here at the beginning just looks so much more like a theme park entrance rather than you know, the old way where you had that kind of old-fashioned kind of entrance. Also with the people seating right next to it and some others go in. That is exactly what you want. There's the exit. You're not doing too well, are you? Are you puking? You're about to puke, aren't you? So that is that. Yeah, as I said, these are the last things I need to have fixed, and then everything is good. Also, I love the fact that you can see people leaving the flume there, and then the empty lock comes over. I think that's so brilliant. I love that. And then you've got the boat coming in. Also, I changed the color within the station to match it a bit better. So yeah, look at them now exiting. Ah, so freaking good. So freaking good. I'm just in love. I'm just in love. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, because that project really means a lot to me. It was a lot of work, but it also turned out so beautifully. So exactly how I wanted it to be. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that Lock Flume 3-episode trilogy, I want to say. And let me know in the comments down below what you would else love to see in this project. And I can't wait to hear your opinion. Also, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and all that other shenanigans. I talk to you in the next one, and bye.